I'm getting into putting some paneling on these walls, fitting around the windows. I've done that one over there, and now I'm going to do this one. So I just thought I'd show a little bit of the process. Got a glue everywhere, just like everything else in this boat. It's all glued and screwed or stapled or nailed. So throw a little glue on everything. Alright, so I've glued the studs across the top. I did the top of the sheet because it's just too hard to go across there and not mark the ceiling, and so now I can put the sheet up. There, I'm all around it. I think it's done. One other little thing, I tested it when I made the piece before I installed it, but make sure that the trim ring goes in here, and if it doesn't cover any of these staples, I'll mark them to be filled, but if they're covered, I don't need to worry about filling them. More hands. There we go. It's in place. All the staples are hidden, so I don't need to worry about filling any of those ones. Saves me a little work. And it'll look beautiful once it's all done. I have to build a filler about, I don't know, 5/16 of an inch thick, something like that, that will fill between these trim rings and the window. They're, my walls are slightly thicker than what the windows are designed for, so I'm going to have to come up with my own way to make them look pretty. Well, I've spent the last while working on wiring, and now I'm going to get into some paneling. And I've been really pleased ever since this boat's had no cover on top of it and it's been open to the elements. I haven't seen any rainwater around any windows or doors or anything. It's been really good. And this morning I came out and not quite the same. Let me show you what I saw today. So I have this piece of paneling. It's easy way to hold it up against the ceiling and make sure squareness of the walls and stuff. And I went, oh, that looks like water. And then you look down at the bottom and yeah, that's definitely water. So what I'm dealing with here, it's not a big surprise. It was pleasing that I didn't think it was an issue, but it turns out it is. So I had to take off the trim rings around here to panel. And I could put them back on now, but I don't want to. It'd be easier if I paint first and then put them on so I don't have to cut around them. And so these windows came with a foam gasket all the way around the flange, but I repositioned it just down a little bit from where it had been, and then I put a bead of silicone around, installed them, pressed them in tight, and then trimmed off the excess silicone. And so last summer we did the bathroom window. Yeah, sometime in the summer when I paneled the bathroom to get ready to, put a tub surround and all the things in here. And I was very concerned the window might just fall out, but it stayed there just fine. And so I was a little more confident doing these other two here, and I still haven't done the two really big guys. So yeah, I'm a little concerned about that now. But yeah, they seem to be fine. Now, just this morning we had a really good rain for about an hour, and I come and see that water. When you look outside here at this window, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's just come off the wall about a 1/16 inch. So all the water that runs off the roof is just funneling right in there and inside. So I'm going to put some tape across there, and then of course the big question is what kind of tape. Masking tape isn't waterproof, duct tape is impossible to get off without residue. I'm going to try packing tape and hope I don't have a battle on my hands later, but I got to do something because it's supposed to rain tomorrow all day long, so I can't have that happening. So I'm going to put packing tape across the top and hope. And I would still like to leave those trim rings off until I painted, just to make my life easier. So hopefully I don't have a big job getting the tape off later. Well, I got some more paneling on yesterday. I got the one end of the dinette, so I still need to do under the window at the dinette, but I have to put some backing in there for the dinette table brackets, and I got the end of the kitchen counter area and finished off that back wall. And up in the salon area here, I got behind the couch down in the lower part and the wall that separates the bathroom. I've just taken the trim rings off these two windows, and so far they look like they're staying stuck with the silicone. That's a good tongue twister, staying stuck with the silicone. And I'm ready, all measured, to put this one on the starboard side. I've done a little framework around the openings. I have to put kind of a box over the wires here and up top to cover the windshield wiper motor and the wires that go up into the flybridge there. So I've done some bit of bracing, backing, whatever for that. So yeah, I'm ready to fit some more sheets. A lot of work, a lot of, a pretty well sheet of plywood for very few square feet of wall coverage, but looks pretty. Every project has all the big obvious jobs, but then there's also the little jobs that no one would even really notice when they're all done, but they all take time. I'm doing one of those today and yesterday. So these windows are designed for 1.5 inch thick wall, but my walls are more like 1.7 inch. So the trim ring that goes around the interior here doesn't quite meet up with the window. I'm building or making a filler to go around all 5 of these windows, and then it will clamp tight with that filler in between. So I'll show you what I've been doing. This is the fillers for 2 of the windows, the 2 smallest windows. I've cut out of plywood, which I ran through the planer to the right thickness. I've cut the corner pieces with my jigsaw. That was a slow time consuming job. There were 20 of those little guys, and then I've made these filler strips that will go between the corners, and I've matched them all up to the trim rings and pre-drilled all the holes and labeled everything, so when it comes time to put them in, I know where they all go. And now what I have to do is get 3 or 4 coats of paint on them, which I'm doing out on my yard, and I was just about to shoot this video out there when my neighbor decided now would be a great time to cut his lawn. So now I have a noisy lawn tractor out there. I can't blame the guy, but it doesn't work well when you want to shoot a video. And there's the fillers for all 5 windows, painted 4 coats and ready to install. They're I think they look good, and I'm looking forward to getting them in place, but that can't happen till after the walls all get painted, and then once the walls are painted, I'll be able to put all this together and finish that job. I've taken that window out, the one over the dinette that's been leaking, because yeah, as you can see, there's a fair distance from the roof down. The walls have a slope of 3 degrees, so the water drips above the window, runs down the wall, and when the window wasn't securely fastened, it slid in behind the window. So I've got the window laid out here, all cleaned up. It has a rubber gasket, but I don't entirely trust that, so when I originally put the windows, I moved the gasket in a little bit, and then I just put a fine bead of silicone around here so it's double protected. And so I'm gonna put a fresh bead of silicone around and put the window in. So the corners here, see on the corners, that's actually chipped the gel coat, so we have to try to end up with it in the exact same place again, like this line out here. So if we end up over or something, that'll be showing forever. Don't touch it yet. Let me so it's on the edges. One of these ends has tar. I think it's that end, so you don't want to get in that tar. You're gonna have to grab underneath it just with a couple fingertips. You got it? So basically, somewhere around there. Don't worry about that right now. Just kind of put some pressure here and hold the window. So I will with my hands when it's not screws. This also kind of makes the window end up where it has to be, because the trim ring doesn't have any slop, and one hole started. Almost to the point where I can let you go. I don't think that's going anywhere now. Let go and silicone off your fingers. So all these pieces I've got labeled dinette right DR, so it just slides in between those little corner pieces. They sometimes need a little persuasion just to get to where they have to go. I had them all fit on the bench, but now the screws are actually in the window, so they may end up ever so slightly different positioning. In worst case, I might have to trim something, but oh. To mess it up. There we go. Fits like a glove. That one fits perfect. Now, bottom. Looks nice. Top. That one's snug, but being long, I can flex it in the middle a bit. Get it perfect there. Perfect there. Love it. You may wonder why I wouldn't use a drill for this, but I want to just know that everything feels right, that I'm catching the old threads and that I'm not over tightening it or anything like that. So just safer to do it with a little ability to feel things better. Done. Here, I'll show you just how this trim looks when it's all finished. So I'm really happy with this. I mean, from a distance, I'm sure you, just like me, can't see anything homemade about this. If I get right in close, that little 1/8 inch there, I'm gonna try a different angle. How about over here? Yeah, if I get right in close here, so that's aluminum, and then that little edge there is my filler, and yeah, just looks like a black window. Yeah, you can see it along here. That's my filler there, and the aluminum, the little 1/8 inch margin I left, and it just looks like that was the way it was intended to be. So on the outside, my bead of silicone I ran around the edge has happily, that's what I wanted to see, been pushed out all the way around. It's got a good seal. It's obviously under pressure and squeezed out. I'll let it cure and then I'll trim it. To try to wipe it off now would just be a smeary mess. So I'll let it cure, and then probably next day or two I'll trim it off of there and it'll look pretty.